Bermuda to legalize cannabis cultivation for medical purposes. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, October 25. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Bermuda's Premier David Burt has pledged that cannabis cultivation for medical purposes will be legalized within months. His promise came as he delivered the keynote speech at the ruling Progressive Labour Party's annual conference, which opened on Wednesday evening. Burt said government will soon issue the first licenses for production.
The government can apply to the United Nations to raise the import limit. But our thinking is, in a country that is desperate for jobs, why send money overseas to import what we can produce here? So, in 2019, in line with the pledge made in our platform, the government will begin issuing licenses for domestic medicinal cannabis production. That those Bermudians who have been denied the opportunity to travel, been restricted in overseas education choices, and blocked by some form of employment due to convictions for cannabis possession should be the first to be able to invest in any license that the government will issue.
Burt also said the government has to update its immigration policies.
Business must realize that Bermudians have legitimate expectations of advancing up the corporate ladder. And part of the disparity is that Bermudians, particularly black Bermudians, sometimes do not get to advance. Some companies are making efforts to change this trend, and I commend them. But the calls for diversity cannot be real without understanding that our model, which too often sees labor being imported, getting promoted, and many times leaving Bermudians behind. What we must do is move from a one-size-fits-all model of immigration to a model where good corporate citizens who hire, train, and promote Bermudians are rewarded with a more streamlined process. While those who do not are subjected to additional scrutiny, we must give companies an incentive to act right.
In other news now, while thousands are still coping with the effects of flooding in Trinidad and Tobago, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, ODPM, says it's struggling with inadequate resources. The admission came from Captain Neville Wint, the relief officer in charge at the ODPM, as he appeared on TV6's Morning Edition program. Nisha John Mohammed reports.
Over the last couple of days, the ODPM has come under fire for its slow response to affected communities. But Wint maintains they are doing the best they can with the limited resources.
One of the major challenges is getting to people, one. We are getting through there closely. And then for persons to accept that they are in some level of hazard and threat, and to remove themselves. We have incidents where persons are still in 2 and 3 feet of water and refusing to leave their home. This now can pose a health hazard. It can also pose risk to responders. And I've also asked these agencies to ensure that once they go to these places and persons refuse or nobody's there, take a note, because agencies, by extension ODPM, is being blamed for not going out there, but the agency is not out there. The ODPM is out there by the agencies that are out there.
He also had some advice for those directly and indirectly affected by the recent floods.
One of the advice I would like to give to Trinidad and Tobago is, one, we need to know the hazards which Trinidad and Tobago is exposed to. We're in the hurricane rainy season now, and an earthquake occurred on the 21st of August, and we're all shocked. An earthquake does not have a season. So we need to know hazards, we need to know how to prepare for it, and therefore we need to adopt an all-hazard approach.
Meantime, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has defended his decision to decline aid from regional leaders in the aftermath of the flooding which caused havoc in some communities. A statement from his office earlier this week said he had thanked the leaders who offered aid, but told them that Trinidad and Tobago was coping through though government, agencies' responses and private outpourings from locals. Now, speaking in Diego Martin on Wednesday, Rowley insisted that the country has the situation under control.
The kind of help that they could have offered, we had already had in place, which would have been things like some food stuff. We couldn't really be looking for the people to come and help us clean up. We can do that here. They weren't offering us a check. Come on. If someone say to you, how do you do? You respond in a certain kind of way, but they did show some concern for you.
Meanwhile, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says even though Rowley gave him the assurance the country is capable of holding its own, residents should not be deterred from offering assistance.
In my discussion with the Prime Minister, and it appears that he made the statement publicly, he's saying that whatever problem that exists, and they had in fact had problems, that Trinidad can handle it with the resources they have. And he probably feels, I'm just putting my own spin to it, that Trinidad is in a better position resource-wise to deal with problems, and even some countries that didn't have a disaster now. And that's why he's saying that he doesn't believe that Trinidad needs help right now. The Prime Minister can say anything, I can say anything.
So would you say to them, go ahead?
Yeah, if you have a family or a friend and you want to help a friend in Trinidad, I don't see any reason why. You don't need the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago or Grenada to say yes, send it or not send it. You're not breaking any law. It's your choice. All the Prime Minister is saying officially from Trinidad and Tobago, the government, that he's not encouraging accepting this aid as a country. But individually, people can't do so.
In other news out of Grenada, Prime Minister Mitchell has announced that Eastern Caribbean countries have decided on a joint approach in responding to the recent flagging of some of the region's residency and citizenship programs by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. He says although his government is not in agreement with the list published last week, the intent behind the move was understandable. Grenada was one of 9 Caribbean countries on the list of 21 nations that the OECD says offer golden passports or visas that could help people evade tax. And Mitchell says the country is putting things in place to ensure standards are raised. We get more in this GBN News report.
The concern expressed by the OECD is that citizenship by investment or residence by investment schemes can be misused to evade tax legitimately. Dr. Mitchell said this situation is quite unfortunate since the CIB program has contributed tremendously towards Grenada's economic growth.
We further noted that the growing importance of the CBI revenue stream to small island developing states, I can tell you this, Grenada has done very well financially. Part of the reason for the economic growth in the country has been the CBI program. Right now, I can tell you, this year we are earning over $60–70 million in the CBI program already. So you could imagine what it will do for us in the coming months and years ahead.
The Prime Minister has outlined how government will tackle the issue.
He hastened to add that Grenada is a signatory to the Common Reporting Standards. Nevertheless, the government of Grenada commits to working closely with the OECD to raise the level of comfort as it relates to a CBI program. And we also want to report that we believe that the security checks that we are using for persons coming here, note that was not the main reason for the CBI, for the OECD blacklisting us, is what they perceive as the evasion of taxes. But we know deep down they also might be concerned about that. So we are doing everything to continue to keep that area very tight and to tighten it even further.
The issue was discussed at the 66th meeting of the OECS Authority in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Monday. Dr. Mitchell said it was decided that countries tackle this issue as a unit.
And we agreed on a joint approach, not Grenada going by itself, because since they are blacklisting all the countries, we felt that we should give a joint response and include some of the bigger countries that are involved in the blacklisting process, how we can go forward.
The 8 CARICOM countries are Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. Only 2 member states of the European Union, EU, Malta, and Cyprus were blacklisted.
You're watching Caribbean Newsline. The state of emergency in one of Jamaica's parishes is being blamed for an increase in crime in another. The details after the break.
Come and experience exceptional fun, meet amazing people, enjoy fantastic food, and rock the nights away to world-class music at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 3 nights of musical entertainment from the 27th to the 29th of June 2019. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to stkittsmusicfestival.net. St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Masika has dropped the visuals for his powerful new dancehall single, Stay Strong. The dancehall superstar has continued to build on his impressive catalogue of hits with the release of the music video for the inspirational track, which is produced by his very own Genocide music imprint.
Yo, that shoes there on my size. I remember that shoes, I said we do it now, I cheer. But we still have to survive.
We continue in Jamaica, where the Trelawney police say the state of emergency in neighboring St. James is causing rising crime in their parish. They say while murders have decreased in the St. James area, it's the opposite in their division. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Murders, shootings, robberies, break-ins, and larceny on the rise in Trelawney. So far, the parish has recorded 23 murders, 6 more than the same period last year. Arrests and convictions have been made for 17 of those murders. But even as the police continue their investigations, Senior Crime Investigator, Assistant Superintendent Jermaine Latibaudier notices a trend.
Where commendation goes to the divisions that have zones of special operations and state of public emergency, and where there are good crime fighting efforts that have been made to reduce crimes. We have been experiencing some migrant criminals in our space, which have impacted our murder rate.
Case in point, 3 men killed during an alleged shootout with lawmen on Monday afternoon, 2 of which are believed to be former members of the Ski Mask gang who fled the Lilliput community in St. James. A search is now on for 2 other men who escaped during the shootout, which takes us back to the crimes on the rise in the parish.
They have been involved in incidents of murder, shooting, extortion, and recently predator larceny. Their demise, though unfortunate, will see the community breathing a sigh of relief, and the tension that existed, particularly in the Bunkers Hill community, significantly declining.
Acting Commander Deputy Superintendent Winston Milton sought to assure residents that the lawmen will not be letting up.
We are resolute in our stance in ensuring that we make Trelawney, with their partnership, a safe place for them to go about doing their business without being impacted by incidents of crime.
A 4.8 magnitude earthquake rocked sections of Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday morning, the 5th quake in the past week. The Seismic Research Center at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus said it occurred at 11:57 a.m. It was located 57 kilometers west of the capital Port of Spain, 75 kilometers northwest of San Fernando, and 83 kilometers west of Arima. There were no reports of damages or injuries. The 14th edition of the Caribbean Festival of the Arts, CariFesta, has been launched in Trinidad and Tobago with Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, Dr. Nyan Gadsby Dolly, saying it embodies regional integration. The festival, which will run from August 16th to 25th, 2019, was launched on Tuesday evening. We get more in this TTT News report.
The minister said for 2019, the festival will showcase a multi-talented cultural display in the visual and literary arts, storytelling, fashion, body art, craft, theatre, dance, music, film, and new media from participating countries from the region and diaspora.
The creative industry, especially with the advancements in communication technology, is making a bold statement, not only in the region, but all over the world. It is taking on an innovative, sustainable, and globally competitive paradigm shift that is moving at warp speed.
Minister Gadsby Dolly said investing in culture is worthwhile,
as this creates tangible opportunities not only for artists and cultural workers, but a wide range of spin-off industries that drive economic development. Indeed, in 2008, as far back as that, 2 million persons in creative industries contributed $60 billion a year, 7.3% to the British economy.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Dwayne Bravo announces his retirement from international cricket. Stay with us. Sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Take photos of important documents and secure them in waterproof containers or bags.
It's one of the most anticipated events of the year. November 4, get ready for Latin Festival at Friggy Bay Lawn starting at 3 p.m. Featuring out of Puerto Rico, Sun Divas. Out of Sweet Sugar Sully St. Kitts, DJ Elvis. From Jamaica, Romaine Virgo. And out of Dominican Republic, El Alpha El Jefe. Get your tickets now at Cajola Cristal Limited, online at latinfestival.net. Avalon Lab in the Sands Complex for only $35 EC until October 28 and $55 after. At Uncle Fats, you can get your VIP tickets for only $320 EC until October 15 and $350 after. Limited amount available. Save the date, November 4. Get ready for Latin Fiesta. Sponsored by Cajola Cristata, Hobson Enterprise, St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Caribbean Cinemas, Stag, and Mojitos La Casa de Albano.
Preview, preview, preview.
Tributes pour in for Dwayne Bravo, who has announced his retirement from international cricket. The 35-year-old all-rounder issued a statement late Wednesday that he will retire after 14 years playing for the West Indies. But Bravo says he will still play franchise cricket across the globe. Now, reacting to the announcement, Cricket West Indies CEO Johnny Grave thanked Bravo for his outstanding contribution to West Indies cricket. He added that to have won 3 ICC global events is a remarkable achievement and will live long in the memories of all West Indies supporters. CWI President Dave Cameron thanked Bravo for his all-round contribution to the game on the international scene, and he wished him well for his continuous pursuit of his cricketing and entertainment goals. And director of Jimmy Adams said, quote, Dwayne has been an outstanding performer across all 3 formats of the game. He has consistently added value to all levels of West Indies cricket with his high level of all-round skill combined with an infectious energy and enthusiasm for the game. End quote. Left-hander Shimron Hetmyer has been tipped by Indian spin legend Harbhajan Singh to be the next $1 million buy in the Indian Premier League. But the batting star says even though playing in the IPL is his future plans, representing West Indies is his only focus at the moment. The 21-year-old smashed a 78-ball 106 in the opening one-day international in Guwahati last Sunday, prompting Harbhajan to label him on Twitter as the next $1 million baby in the IPL. Hetmyer said, although, quote, "It's a good feeling to know that one of the great spinners from India has rated me that high. It is a dream of mine, but right now I am taking one step at a time, so I would see what awaits. But right now, I'm focused on representing West Indies," end quote. The young Guyanese batsman endeared himself to Indian fans with his scintillating stroke play, lashing half-dozen fours and sixes to mark his third career ODI 100 and third this year alone. He followed up in the second ODI in Visakhapatnam with a high-quality 94 of just 64 balls with 4 fours and 7 huge sixes, once again reiterating his form in the shorter format. Hetmyer struggled in the preceding 2-test series with 50 runs from 4 innings and said he had put that experience behind him. He played 14 ODIs after making his debut last December on the tour of New Zealand, but has been selected for just 2 T20 internationals. Still in cricket, England's players arrived in Antigua on Wednesday to a festive Caribbean welcome, becoming the first international side to touch down for the historic ICC Women's T20 World Cup, which bowls off next month. Coach Mark Robinson said the reigning 50 overs World Cup champions would be keen to add a second white ball title to their trophy. Now, in a light moment, Tammy Beaumont took center stage as he tried her hand at playing the steel pan, while her teammates also enjoyed the sounds of calypso music. Now, England was the toast of the cricket world last year when they beat India to win the 50-over World Cup before a capacity crowd at Lord's. The triumph signaled a giant step forward for the women's game, a fact acknowledged by Robinson, and success in the T20 World Cup would be another flip for the side. The Women's T20 World Cup runs from November 9th to 24th and will be played at the National Stadium in Guyana, the Darren Samis Cricket Ground in St. Lucia, and the Vivian Richards Cricket Ground in Antigua. England have been drawn in Group A alongside defending champions West Indies, South Africa, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, while Group B comprises Australia, India, New Zealand, Pakistan and Ireland. To football now. Jamaica's Reggae Girls have left for England to play in a charity match with Nottingham. It's their first international outing since qualifying for next year's FIFA World Cup. As we hear in this report by TVJ's Karen Madden, the match was organized in support of the Windrush generation.
It's more than football. That's the view of the UK High Commissioner to Jamaica, Asif Ahmad, as the Reggae Girls head to Nottingham on Wednesday. The team and their support staff were hosted by the UK High Commission at a reception on Monday evening. The reception was attended by 4 of the 6 local-based players who will make the trip to England. And while the UK High Commission helped to clear the path for the team to play in England, Ahmad argued that this weekend's game is more than sports.
Well, it's a recognition that we have strong links, and they're not just historical links. It's alive and kicking now. There are about 800,000 people of Jamaican heritage living in the UK, and some 200,000 who come this way. So there are about 1 million interactions a year. And I think it has to go beyond the usual thing of people visiting for family and friends. I think there are business opportunities, there are opportunities for sport, which is not just a spectacle for people to enjoy. There's a big sports industry behind all of this. You know, sports needs money, and we need television coverage like yours to promote sport. But when all of that comes together, it's a big boost to the economy.
JFF President Michael Ricketts gave details of the immediate assignment for the Reggae Girls.
Well, we are really excited at the prospects of what will unfold after our qualifications. But like I've said, we leave on Wednesday to Nottingham Forest, and we play a game as part of this Windrush celebration. And we play on Sunday rather, we leave on Wednesday, we play on Sunday. Then afterwards, I think the next big event is the draw in France, December 8th. Then we'll know who we play and where we play.
Assistant coach Andrew Price spoke of his expectation for the team in England.
Well, the expectation is for the girls to go out there and enjoy themselves and show their potential. Going to a World Cup, you need to have at least a cadre of 40 to 50 players that you can choose from, because along the way of preparation you might have injuries, or for whatever reasons ladies might not be able to make the final 23. So we want to give as much young ladies the exposure and the opportunity to make that final squad. So it's a good occasion for these ladies to go to Nottingham Forest, play against them and show their worth there.
Meanwhile, the Cayman Islands senior women's team is dreaming of following in the path of the Reggae girls in qualifying for a FIFA World Cup final. But they're faced with one challenge. They don't know where to begin, since the team has been inactive since May 2014. Cayman 27's Jordan Armanice reports.
Jamaica's national women's football program continued to engage stakeholders over the next 8 years, gaining key international experience, and the rest is history. But what does this have to do with Cayman's women's national football program? Since their loss to Turks and Caicos back in May of 2014 at a World Cup qualifying match, national team members Ari Smith and Shanice Monteith say they don't even know where to begin with Cayman's national women's football program.
At least get it started, because like it's pretty much non-existent at the moment. It's just pretty much the men, the under-20s, the under-15 girls, and that's about it.
Smith adds the 4-year gap in play was a missed opportunity in the program's development.
We did so well in Turks and Caicos. You know, our first game, a lot of the players were nervous, so we lost that one, but then we came back and we drew, and then we won. So, I mean, I think if the program was just building from then, we could have really had a chance to improve and see what would have happened this go-around.
That's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Just love me for life, through sickness or health, poverty or wealth, ain't no pulling out. Just love me for life.
Time flies by while having fun. It's all gone in a wink. And now the days feel more like months.
Yeah, luggage is over with. Yeah, luggage is over with. How much I must pay?
No, you can't do it like that. You'll have to take some of the things out of the suitcases and put in a box or something.
You know, you're a wicked woman. A wicked fat woman.
Do you want a boxer?
Box me now? You think so you're helping me strike me? Try a box.
Barbados, it's time to laugh again. Get yourselves ready for the Caribbean's funniest men and women. Fast Promotions annual Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Saturday, October 27th, Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Get your early bird tickets now and pay $60 before all are sold out. At ticketlinks.com, all Ticket Links outlets nationwide, Jeans Inc. Sheraton, CS Pharmacy, Rubis Wildy, and Eddie Supermarket Spikestown.
I come in here as a loner, I know you spot me from far.
Again, the major developments of this day: Bermuda to legalize cannabis cultivation for medical purposes within months. And in sport, West Indies all-rounder Dwayne Bravo announced his retirement from international cricket. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.